smile for the camera.
On the camera.
That's right. That's absolutely correct. You never know, right?
Right.
Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are now tuned in to the Speaker MC show, where it's all about relationships. Relationship with yourself, with your siblings, with your employers, employees, with food, with money, just all-round relationships. And today's show topic is woman to woman, where we are going to talk about women empowerment, or the lack thereof. Are we as women really empowering other women when we say, yeah, we're all about the sisterhood? Are we really? Today we have two guests, and our guests are from two different locations in our United States. First off, I'd like to introduce Miss Barbara Ann Williams. Say, hey, Barbara.
Hey.
No, not hey, Barbara, but hey. And Barbara is from the Austin, Texas area, where she is the CEO of Win-Win Relationships. Barbara's area of expertise is intimate relationships, and she teaches and supports committed couples about healthy communications, how to have it, receive it, enjoy it. And her mission is to focus and empower these couples who feel like their lives are moving in separate directions. She teaches them how to come together and connect on a soul level. Woo! Barbara's a writer, speaker, facilitator, and certified relationship coach, and founder, as I said, of the Win-Win Relationships LLC. Welcome to the show, Barbara.
Thank you. Glad to be here, Marcia. Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here. Yes, I almost said thanks for having you.
Yeah. Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
And next, we also have another guest. Our other guest is the president-elect of the National Association of Business Women. And she is how should I say it? I met Shannon a couple months ago, Shannon?
Yep.
Yeah, I met Shannon a couple months ago. And Shannon runs an operation called, she's out of the Oakland, California area. Sorry, I'm trying to assert my memory here. She's from the Oakland, California area. And Shannon's area of expertise is helping women uncover what's really holding them back. And we as women have a lot of things that are holding us back. And sometimes we just don't know. Well, Shannon helps you to uncover that. She's a speaker and trainer and a change expert. I love that terminology so much. She's a change expert who specializes in helping women to get clear on what's really holding them back and how to change it for good. And Shannon, as I said, is in the Oakland, California area. Yes, let's welcome Shannon to the floor.
Hi.
Welcome, Shannon.
Fabulous. Shannon, something went wrong with your video. We only have the audio connection. Maybe you need to refresh your screen and come back in.
Okay.
So we'll start our dialogue. Our show today is entitled Woman to Woman. My name is Marcia Chambers, and I am your host of the Speaker MC show. My expertise is confidence. I teach women how to be confident in their own skin. And sometimes with that lack of confidence, we do some really ugly things. So today's show topic, Woman to Woman, was inspired because I observed just an everyday occurrence on the highway. A woman was in the far left lane on the highway, trying to get over to the exit, which was about maybe a few hundred feet. But she could easily get some right of way or yield to get to the other lane because another woman was coming in the third lane of traffic. Well, this woman did not help her. What she did, instead of yielding and slowing down and giving her the right of way so that she could cross over, she sped up. And I said, now look at that. I bet if you spoke to that woman in that car, she would say, yeah, I'm all about sisterhood. Are you really? Are you really? And it's such a shame that we see these characteristic displays of behavior of not empowering another woman. I mean, women have come a long way. Virginia Slim said, "Wait, we've come a long way, baby," right? And with the woman suffrage, that's another thing. Now we can vote. Now we can get into politics. Now we can actually work. There's certain things that were not available to us as women before that there are now. So why is it that we can't stick together? Can you give power to somebody else? Doesn't that mean that that person can also take it from you? So why don't we just take our power? What do you ladies have to say about that?
Well, I think that certainly with the work that I do around women and creating change and understanding the stories that we tell, the one thing that I know for sure is, and we were talking about this earlier, there's sometimes a story or a belief. If I give something up, if I believe that I'm giving something up, if I even give that space in front of me on the freeway up, then I'm going to lose something. I'm going to be less than. I'm not going to have something if I give something to you. And I think that's a story that a lot of us carry from childhood, where we didn't have enough. We didn't get our needs met. And so we kind of come into the world with this understanding or this belief that we have to take it ourselves. And it is almost, to your point around power, it's just a little distorted as to what real power actually might be.
Any comments from you, Barbara?
Marcia, you're not going to believe this.
I won't.
Gee, was that woman on the freeway?
Come on now. Marcia, I knew that we were having this call tonight, right? I knew we were having this call this evening, but little did I know that I would have this real life example today. I mean, I was parked at an intersection where I needed to get out. So there was a line and they were at the stop sign. So what did they do? Block my exit. I could not get out. And would you believe that it came the opportunity for a sister, another female, to actually allow me to get out? I had done this earlier today myself, kind of, come on, get out or hurry up. As many could get out before I can get in there. And it's like she didn't even see me. She just looked straight ahead as though she didn't. She didn't know she saw me, because she was that far on the other side of me to be able to see me come up. But I thought about this call and I says, you know what? What an example. What did it take away from her? What would it take away from me to allow one person just to get in there, or just to have that opportunity to go on their way and do what it is they need to do? So yeah, it makes you wonder, what is it? Why can't people do that? Why can't we look out for the next person? It's kind of almost like smiling. It doesn't cost a thing to smile at someone. You're walking face to face, and it doesn't cost you anything at all.
Anything.
Just hi, speak, smile, wave. Anything. Doesn't cost anything. Doesn't take anything from you.
Well, just to piggyback on what you said, and I'll switch to you, Shannon, in a minute. But maybe that person who doesn't smile or just doesn't wave or doesn't seem very friendly have been traumatized by big cities like New York and Atlanta and Chicago, where it's such a metropolis and we're so jam-packed in that everyone just kind of keeps straight ahead. I don't want to look to the right. I don't want to look to the left because it's none of my business, that kind of thing. And maybe it could be misconstrued that, oh, she smiled at me, so now you have a stalker. Or you waved at someone. Oh, do you know that person? And it causes some kind of disruption in whatever, a relationship. Maybe the person's walking with their mate and they say, oh, do you know that person? Or who's that person? That kind of thing. So And I'm not saying that it's right. I'm just saying that there's a certain empathy being in a metropolis like New York, that you see a lot of people who tend not to be very friendly because, and it speaks to you again, Shannon, what you had said before with that lady.
You know, I think it's interesting.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe you could tell the story. So yeah, because we did it off the air. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about being in the grocery store and the woman in front of me with a small child, and I think the thing that I always think about, because I have this great contrast. I live part-time in the Bay Area, very, very dense, very urban metropolis, and I live part-time in a little tiny town in Idaho. And the thing that I noticed the most, one, you know, the pace is slower. Obviously, you know, you're out in the country. But when you're driving, people wave. And it's not like, hey, hi, how you doing? You pass somebody on a country road and there's always like a hand or a couple fingers over the steering wheel. I live in Oakland and I live on a very narrow residential street, and people have to stop and pull over to let somebody by or what have you. And it's fascinating to me how few people just acknowledge, like, hey, you pulled over, thanks. Wow. Or, you know, appreciate it. And I always think about that because, again, it's back to that conversation. Are we pulling ourselves in because we're keeping to ourselves? We don't want to overstep our boundaries and take more than our share or more than our space? Or are we kind of forgetting the golden rule a little bit, you know, do unto others sort of thing? And to your part, Barbara, I think that sometimes we just forget, you know, it's a small thing, just a smile or a glance. I don't want to move in with you, but I acknowledge you and I saw you and I appreciate what you just did. You know, I appreciate the gracefulness or the gratitude or just the politeness. A friend of mine says her prayer every day is, can we just be polite? You know, can we just have manners? That would be cool. I think that would be nice. And I think women know how to do that. You know, we know how to be that way. So,
you know what that's all about, Shannon? That's all about being present.
Yeah.
You know, just being present.
I agree.
What do you bring to the table? You know,
yes.
I mean, you could be the only smile. You could be the only opportunity. You could be the only ray of hope for someone that particular day, that particular moment. And when you do not take advantage of the opportunity to be in that space, you have not only taken from yourself, but you could have possibly lost someone who needed what you had in that moment by not being present.
That is so spiritual. Oh, that is so spiritual.
That's
I like
real.
that, though.
That's real.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah.
And especially in this world where people are going through so many stresses and so many headaches, and women tend to internalize a lot too, because we have so much on our plates. Now that we've become part of the economic workforce, you tend to find a lot of us are taking more than our share. And that just seeps into all kinds of relationships. How do you speak to your sibling because you're all stressed out? How do you speak to your children because you're all stressed out? And it's so, even though you may say, well, they don't have time to be empowered. Well, yeah, you need to be present. Just take a moment for self and just relax a little bit and be empowered. Empower your own self.
Yes.
How do you ladies feel about that?
Yeah. Go ahead, Shannon. By all means. Really, you know, we have to be the first partaker of what we're giving. And so if we cannot give to ourselves first, then who else are we going to give to? Because we might not get it from anybody else. But the mere fact that we give it to ourselves, then we can walk and share it with somebody else. You know, you receive first. I mean, we wake up in the morning, not on our own, not on our own breath, not on our own strength, but we wake up in the morning, and it reminds me of that saying, our life is God's gift to us. What we do with that life is our gift back to God. So
Yep.
it's like you wake up. Why waste the breath? Why waste the life? Give back to somebody in some way. If I could be in a grocery store line and I could have a buggy full of stuff, and somebody could have 2-3 items in their hands or just a handful of stuff. Hey, I got time. Go right ahead. They can get in front of me. So there are all sorts of ways that we can be gentle or kind. And I see it as, when the opportunity presents itself, it's a reminder to me that I need that same grace and mercy that the next person does. So even if I don't give it, it's a reminder to me that I need it. So when I realize that I'm going to need that, it encourages me to give it. Because I'm storing up for me. I'm storing up for myself. I tell people so often, I said, you know what? Just because I know it's a good thing that I'm encouraging you and making you feel good or esteeming you. But what I'm saying to you, I want you to hold on to it, because I might need the very thing that I'm giving to you today. I might need that tomorrow. So it's not like we never need encouragement, but if you give it, you can rest assured that it's going to come back to you.
Somehow.
So maybe not from the same person, but you don't have to be concerned about the same person that you give to giving back to you. They might not be able to do what you can do, but you got to do it. So if you be the first one, you be the bigger person, you be the better person, and show them how to do it. Maybe they don't know how to. Show them.
Well, how would you show someone who doesn't know how to receive? Because you have some people who just don't know how to receive. If you pay a compliment to someone, like the other day, I was out shopping for groceries, and I saw this lady in some fabulous shoes. When I tell you these shoes look fabulous, and I said, "Oh, those are simply fabulous shoes. They're gorgeous." The woman proceeded to tell me where she got it from, how much it is. Are you hearing me, Shannon?
You froze.
I froze? Yes. Shannon, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The woman proceeded to tell me where she got the shoes, how much they cost, what colors they came in. I'm like, I just said your shoes were fabulous. That's it. So some people just don't know how to receive a compliment. How do you tell these people to change that kind of dynamic?
I don't think you do.
I don't need to know where to buy the shoes or get the shoes. I was just appreciating that you had some fabulous shoes. You were saying, Shannon?
To Barbara's point, I think that whole thing around giving and receiving is probably the biggest challenge for women, because by our very nature, we're caregivers. We're just constantly in that mode of, how can I take care of, how can I be of service? And the shadow side of the caregiver nature is that when we do receive, we tend to either not recognize it, like the woman that you complimented her shoes, or we justify it, like, I have to be good in order to get good. But there's another place that we can teach ourselves, which is that place of when we begin to accept who we are, just who we are as we are, we actually start to give other people the opportunity to accept themselves. So if we can come from that place of, yeah, thank you, I love these shoes. I really appreciate that. I totally get that. When I first got married, I was like, oh, look at my wedding ring. And then I had to explain to people the whole story behind how I got my wedding ring and blah, blah, blah. And people don't care about that. They don't have enough time. People don't have time, to go to the bathroom, much less to listen to, endless stories. But the point is that when I started to get comfortable in my own skin, the presence Barbara was talking about, when I started to go, hey, I'm just in that place of comfort. I can be giving because I'm receiving myself. I'm allowing myself to receive myself. I'm not looking outside of me
Oh,
for
you're
someone
talking now.
else to give me the space or to give me, the parking. Sometimes people blow, especially in the Bay Area, people blow past you and they're trying to get around you. And I've taught myself, and it wasn't easy because there's this big part of me that wants to be Parnelli Jones and just get in that fast lane and cut them off. But there's a part of me that goes, you know what? I don't know your story.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know what's going on with you. I don't know if you have to go to the bathroom so bad you can't wait in traffic, or something's happening, or you had a bad day or whatever. And if I can just go in that place in myself and say, it's okay, I get it, I've done it, go in love. And whether it means anything to the other person, what it starts to do for me is it begins to rewrite my own wiring. It begins to slow me down. It begins to give me a little bit more peace in myself. And the more peaceful I am, the more I can go out and be peace. And that's
to
what
somebody else.
changes other people.
Yes.
That's
Ditto.
what changes other people.
Yes.
So charity does begin at home, and it has to begin with self.
Yeah. You can't give anything you don't have. So if you're feeling depleted, if you're feeling unloved, if you're feeling like there's not enough to give, you're going to have a hard time making any room at all to give because you feel so less than. So the first place is to begin to just, like Barbara says, get present. Allow yourself to simply be okay in the moment. I'm okay. I'm okay. You're okay. Or whatever you need to tell yourself. But who you are as you are is enough.
Right.
And if you come from that place, then you can create all kinds of space for people in grocery stores and checkout lines and what have you. Endless calls, customer service.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. And it speaks to your truth again, what you just said, Shannon and Barbara, about being present, because women tend to face a lot of issues in their lives themselves. So trying to get that confidence and that self-esteem raised, maybe because of how they were raised, maybe because of what they've been told in the past, maybe because, oh, you're never good enough, or it's you're not enough. That's what it is. And they get into these relationships that don't appreciate them. Oh, they're this big. So appreciate that you're this big. You have more love to give. It's more of you to give. Instead, they try to compete. So it starts with that developmental shift, that esteem that they need to recognize that they are enough. How do we create that space for more women to let them know that you are enough, and stop being catty, stop competing, stop with that downtroddenness, because we've come so far.
It's difficult to change what you don't acknowledge.
Well, how do you start acknowledging it? That's
if you have the issue, you have to acknowledge you have the issue. Because if you don't have awareness, some people are in denial, and you're not going to change what you're denying, But when you realize that you have an issue, you have a challenge, you have a concern, you have a way about you or behavior that you don't necessarily like, it could be weight, it could be anything about you that you don't like, because you have to learn to accept you right where you are. Sure, I'm going to be 5 pounds less, next month. I'm going to be 5 pounds 5 pounds less next month. But right now, since I'm not, I accept me for who and where and how I am in this moment. And the best way you can help somebody else is to help yourself. So when you accept yourself where you are, someone's going to see that and they admire that. People admire confidence. And so when you have that confidence, people are going to admire that. And that could just give them something to aspire too. You know, they might not come out and ask you, they might not even say anything to you, but it at least plants a seed and gives them something to aspire to. But if they don't acknowledge that they have an issue with that 5 pounds overweight, or that behavior, or that attitude, if they don't acknowledge that there is an issue or challenge or concern that they have, then it's not going to change.
Well, even if they don't acknowledge that they have this issue, as the sisterhood, now, if we as the sisterhood can bring that to their attention, is that a good word? Is that a good phrase? Or maybe just letting them know that, hey, girl, you look great. Not necessarily being false with your compliment, but actually acknowledging that you are enough where you are. 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 50 pounds, because it's what's inside that really matters. This outer experience is just a shell, and it's mostly water anyway. So, and I'm just going on the weight issue.
Right.
It's so many other things that as women, if we just band together and unite, I always admire, and I'm in such awe of men, how a guy can go to a party, a function, a networking event, no one there, and automatically just make friends with these people. Men, women, whatever, have no problems. Hey man, what's up? Yo, and all of that. But women will stand in the corner and we'll look each other up and down. Oh, be catty. Oh, look what she has on. Girlish issues, girlish play, girlish tendencies, so to speak. And these things are so commonplace that maybe if we as women came together and actually brought that positivity back to the forefront, then maybe the change that needs to begin within could start to take place. Would you agree or disagree?
Well, I think it goes back to the point you were making about the shoes, when you paid the compliment about the shoes, and the person goes back and going through all these explanations. You can't change all of that. You know, you give a compliment, people can't take it if they can't receive. So that's what I mean by the awareness. You know, if they aren't aware that there is an issue, if you pay me a compliment and I can't just accept it and say, thank you, rather than just explaining away, oh, girl, I had this 50 years, just thank you. Thank you. I like it too. Or, what is it? Good, two people think alike, good minds think alike, or we have the same good taste, So it's a compliment back to you rather than just keeping it all to myself. But I think it has a lot more to do with the individual, and we can't change other people. All we can do is be that model. Be the model for them. So yeah, by all means, pay compliments, say nice things, and not just for the sake of saying nice things and paying compliments, but hey, give what's due. You see somebody that looks nice, give it to them, compliment them, whatever you need to do. But it's about them being able to accept that, and you can't force that.
Yeah. And I think the other part of that is something around the concept of projection. When we look out in the world, we see what we don't see in ourselves. So the world, whatever our world is in some way a mirror for our own reality. So when we're in a place and we're looking out and we're saying, oh, look at her, she's not so pretty, or that thing that's been on the news feed about the Playboy bunny who took the photograph of the woman in the dressing room. I don't know if either of you saw that, but it's been on my Facebook feed. Apparently a Playboy model was in her gym in LA, and there was a woman there getting out of the shower, totally vulnerable. She took a picture of her and posted it on Facebook and said, I cannot unsee this, and you should see it too. And of course, when it got back to her, very much in line with this conversation about it, doing things to other people, when it got back to her, she said, oh, well, I didn't mean to post it to the public. I meant to just post it to my girlfriend, as if that was okay.
Right.
But when I read that,
Wow.
where I went to was just this deep, heartfelt
Wow.
place of, wow, you have projected onto this anonymous woman's, poor woman who was minding her own business, just taking a shower, a body image that is so rigid in your own mind that you didn't see her. You just saw the thing in yourself that you're terrified of becoming. And I think that when we start to understand, I mean, projection goes both ways. You can see amazing people. I totally project onto your hat, Marcia. Every time I see that, I was like, I want to be a hat person. And of course I don't, because I look really stupid. But I admire that. And when I look at people that I truly admire, rather than diminish myself, what I tell myself is, if I can recognize it in you, it's within me. So when I see one who's an extraordinary storyteller, an amazing healer, or a fabulous speaker, and I admire them, I go, I have that in me. I recognize it in you, so I know it's in me somewhere. The opposite of that is when I look out at the world and I go, oh, you stupid idiot, I can't believe you did that. I have no choice but to look back at myself and go, yeah, and where does that show up in your life? So when we're asking the question, how do we change? We have to ask the question, what is reflected in our judgment? And that's where you begin to say, well, if I'm noticing it, it's got to be within me somewhere. And if that's the case and I don't like it, then what Barbara said, recognition first, taking 100% responsibility for that belief, and then starting to change it. And that's where the miracle really happens.
Like you said, where the thumb is pointing. You're pointing the index, but the thumb is pointing right back at you. Right back at you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining us, this is the Speaker MC show, and today we have guests Miss Shannon Presson and Barbara Williams. Shannon is helping you to unblock your inner self, and Barbara is a relationship expert. And my name is Marcia Chambers, and today our topic is woman to woman, talking about woman empowerment or lack thereof. So if you're just joining us, feel free to write a note so that we could chit chat, and we'll have a Q&A, and you'll have information on how to connect with these wonderful ladies, and also something free. Oh, we have a question here. Yes, women are always giving, so we have to put ourselves first in order to start accepting and not feel guilty. Yes, I like that, 815. You ladies want to comment on that? Because that is so true.
You know, I think that it is absolutely true that we need to learn to give and receive in equal measure. So we don't want to be total receivers, like, just give it to me. I'm so great. And you guys just, you know. And I think a lot of us grew up with that, you know, don't pat yourself on the back, you'll break your arm sort of thing. But the capacity to receive is an interesting one, because it's along the lines of that comment you made about telling the woman, thank you for the shoes. Receiving is the capacity to go, wow, thanks, without justification. Because the justification is, oh, well, yeah, they're great shoes, but, you know, I got them at a flea market sale, or I've had them for a million years. You know, we've all heard that one.
Right.
So yeah, by putting ourselves first, again, we can't give what we don't have. If we don't have a full cup, how can we share with others, you know? And when we don't have a full cup and we're still in that caregiver place, we're going to take it out in some other measure. You know, that's where passive aggressive comes in. It's like, oh, yeah, I'll call the doctor for you. And then you totally forget. Or, yeah, I'll pick up your dry cleaning. And, you know, so that sort of thing.
Would you also say that some of this behavior also stems from lack of self-esteem?
I think that everything, if you drill it down, comes down to three things. A sense of hopelessness, like I can't change. A sense of helplessness, I don't have what it takes to create change. Or worthlessness, which is who I am isn't worth anything. So hopeless, helpless, worthless are really where we drill down to that place of, I can't be safe. I can't be loved. I can't get my needs met. And part of the work that I do is helping people find that story, the one that's keeping them in that place, to keep them safe, to keep them protected, and rewrite it so that we can become more in balance. We get our needs met. We're able to stay in our values. We're able to receive perhaps what we couldn't ever receive before. That was certainly my story. And then once we fill up, then we find all that space to share with other people.
Yes. And then when we are filled up with all this esteem and all this confidence, then we make better partners. Isn't that right,
So
Barbara?
true, so true. Because you know what? If we aren't good to ourselves, we won't know how to help somebody else be good to us.
Yeah.
So we've got to be first able to, one, be aware of what is good, and to be able to accept that when it comes to us. But then to our relationships are really, and I think Shannon said something about this earlier, but our relationships really are a mirror of us. So you kind of can't get what you're not. If you berate yourself, beat yourself up, and don't take care of yourself, you're unhealthy, and you abuse your own self, you aren't going to have someone to come in and just love, and love all on you, because you're not. We teach people how to treat us. So
I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that.
So if you treated your own self bad, you can't wait and expect somebody else to go. You won't even know what to do with it.
Well, and there's even that belief in your head. I know when I was first married, my husband was kind of a total workaholic, and I wanted him to just, when he came home at night, I wanted him to just relax and be able to have dinner with me. I mean, I had this whole scenario in my head about how it should be. So not only did I work all day long, but I came home and I cooked and I cleaned and I made the house nice so we could sit down and have a meal. And then all of a sudden, about 3 years into the relationship, I realized that he wasn't doing anything. I mean, he was getting up and going to work. He wasn't doing the groceries. He wasn't cooking meals. And I finally, okay, Barbara, you're going to laugh at this. I finally wound up at a therapist's office. And the therapist said, you do know how you set this up, don't you?
Yes.
And I'm like, no, I don't. She said, well, that part where you said, I'm going to do everything for you, so all you have to do is come home and sit down. Well, that's exactly what you have. He's coming home and he's sitting down.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it was a real shock to both of us, because I had to go home and say, okay, sorry, all bets are off, but I'm not doing anything for the next 3 years, because now it's your turn.
Yeah.
But that is very much in line with how we show up and how we see our world mirrored back to us. I got exactly what I was training him to do. I just didn't recognize that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
Exactly. And men tend to be so graphic.
Well, very literal.
And visual. Yeah, very literal. Yeah.
Oh, this must be okay. That's so what she wants. She just wants me to come home and sit down.
But how many women actually are doing the same thing without even recognizing, this is what I'm teaching him to do. And then they complain, my husband's so lazy, he doesn't do anything, he doesn't do it. When you're actually the one making him lazy.
Or giving permission for behavior.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Either consciously or unconsciously.
Or picking up behind them. So why do they need to pick it up? They just look behind, like, did you miss that? We're constantly training people, teaching people how to really respond, react, and how to treat us.
Yeah. And if we don't believe that we deserve it, if we don't believe that we're worthy, then we teach people that. We teach people to take care of us in the way that we believe we deserve to be taken care of. And if we're not getting it the way that we think we should, we have to turn that around and say, what am I doing to dance with this? How am I contributing to this relationship in a way that's creating a scenario, because it's coming from you in some way? And that is the hardest thing to accept sometimes, is that you are actually creating this and it's up to you to change it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yes.
Even as singles in our
and a lot of people are scared to change.
Yes.
A lot of people are scared to change. So, ladies, we have discussed all the issues, and we've discussed how women have now.
We got that. We go home.
No, I didn't mean that dismissively. I wanted to also explore, now that we've fleshed out the problem, I wanted to also explore how can we provide tips or information on people to repair themselves. You know, like the airplane. On the airplane, they tell you if it's going to crash, you better take care of yourself first before you take care of the baby, because if you don't take care of yourself first, you won't have anybody else to take care of. So how do we train, inform, suggest, advise, whatever word you want to use, but give some information, valuable information to people who are experiencing these self-esteem issues of helplessness, hopelessness, and worthlessness? How do we make them know that you are more than enough? And in providing that, you can now empower another woman, maybe come together and join and unite and be another NAWBO, NAWBO, National Association of Business Women organization, or be a relationship coach and have some kind of collaboration. What other tips or suggestions can you provide? Who wants to go first?
Well, I think the two top tips that I always have, the first one is take 100% responsibility for your reality. That's right off the top. It's like, just own it. Just say, I don't know how I got here. I don't even know why this is happening. I'm just going to take responsibility for the fact that I'm in it. And just, you know, without blame, without shame, without anything, it's just going, okay, I don't even know why I'm here, but I know that at some level I am the captain of this ship. And so it's my responsibility to determine the direction that I'm now ready to go forward. And the second one is probably my favorite, because it's what created huge transformation for me. Either or is that black or white place. Either I'm right, you're wrong, you're right, I'm wrong, you know, good, bad, right, wrong, black or white, the whole thing. And so criticality and judgment is so much part of the either or. You know, I'm critical, either I'm critical of you, you're critical of me. The way out of that is to switch that to the both and the both and is wonder and curiosity. And if you can move into curiosity and wonder, you go back to that small child inside you that knows how to create miracles. And you go into that place of, wow, isn't this interesting? Every time I'm in a situation at work or a relationship or with my husband or my boyfriend or something, I notice that every time, fill in the blank, this happens, I do this. So that's the curiosity part. Isn't that interesting? I wonder what that's trying to get for me. Not what it's trying to get for the other person, but when I'm in this situation and I hear this whatever come out of my mouth, or I see it, and I do it consistently every time, kind of like me and my husband. Wow, why is it every time you come home, you just sit down and do anything? I love you, honey. I know you're listening to this. And when I asked the question, wow, isn't that interesting? This is happening. I wonder what this is getting for me. What I began to see was what I wanted for myself was some uninterrupted time, not at work, where him and I could come together and just to be in relationship, to share, to talk, to chat, to kiss, to hug, or whatever. But the way I had set it up wasn't getting it for me. So if I got out of the criticality and judgment, critical, like, oh my God, you know, I can't believe you're doing this, blame, judgment. And I go into that curiosity place of, wow, isn't that interesting? I wonder what this is about. all of a sudden your brain's going to start sorting for all sorts of answers. And that's when you begin to start to change. So those are my 2 tips. Just take responsibility and see if you can move into out of judgment and criticality and into wonder and curiosity.
I like it. I like it a lot. Miss Williams.
It's so easy to look at someone else and see something that you don't like about them.
Oh, right? Yeah.
Very easy. Your spouse, significant other, family member, friend, coworker, the person in the car next to you. Anybody. It is so easy to look at someone and find something to be critical or judgmental about. And so when we do that about others, it's much more about us, but we don't see that. We don't realize that. And so one of the tips that I would suggest is to just look in the mirror. We look in the mirror when we're fixing ourselves up. First thing in the morning, we're getting ready to go out and we're putting everything on and fixing ourselves up. But what about at night before bed, when you're pulling everything off and you get to see everything in the natural, just as you are, just you, the bare naked you. That's the truth. That's what's real. And when you can look at that and just say, you know what? This is what makes me, me. This is me. And if I can't accept me, no matter how much I put on, nobody else will accept me. Because even when they do, they're not accepting me as I am now. They're accepting all of that I have put on top of me. And so when we begin to accept ourselves, so that would be the first thing. Accept yourself, flaws and all.
That's a good one.
We see everybody else's, so why not just go ahead? Okay, yeah, I see that. You got a mole here. You got a freckle. You got a freckle here. You got a dimple there. All sorts of stuff, So, yeah, that's mine. And, Shannon was saying earlier, just own it. Own your stuff. Own fully you, wherever you are. And if there is something that you see in, on, round, about you that you don't like, you can change it. Change it. Stop talking about it. Do something about it. Take action about it. And if it's nothing but one simple thing that you can do, just do that. And so tell yourself, okay, I don't like this about me. So you ask yourself, what's one simple thing that I can do that can work toward changing that I don't like about myself? And begin the change, the transformation, begin that process of taking place, actually moves you from the space of not liking you, criticizing, complaining, and judging you, to being okay with you. And everybody else will accept you because you accept you. That's your job.
Okay. All right. So look in the mirror.
Yes. Look in the mirror. Accept, and change.
Yourself, flaws and all.
And change
so
what don't like.
Just piggybacking on what you just said. So I look in the mirror and I know that I had asked God for some dimples in my cheek, only to find that I have it in the wrong cheek. Now,
I got a lot of dimples on that cheek. Yeah. I can give you a few if you want. I'd be happy to ship them to you. Put them all in a box.
How do I change that, Barbara?
Well, the old serenity prayer, change the things you can and accept the things you can't, and wisdom to know the difference.
Oh, but you can change that dimple if you've got that much issues with it. The thing is, yeah, I mean, they've got too many surgeries and plastic stuff today going on that if you want to change
why do you want to change it? That's the one that I'm curious about. It's not that you can't change it, but the question is, what will changing it get for you? And I think that's to me is always the important question is like, yeah, you can change and you can change lots of things by yourself.
The why.
But what does it get for you? And that is very telling question, because if it's like, well, people will love me more if I have dimples on my cheeks or I have less dimples on my other places. No, not so much. But, you know, if you like, because I absolutely know that when I look in the mirror and I see that flawless cheek or what have you, it just rises me up and makes me go out and do great things. Okay, fine. You know, go for it. So that's the other half of that question.
It's all mindset.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where most of our work is done.
Pretty much.
In the mind.
Yes, absolutely. All up there. Well, ladies, I want to say thank you so much for this very informative session. I really learned a whole lot. You know, that worthlessness thing was very good, and being so aware. A lot of people are not aware anymore. We're so taken up with this technology phase that people just don't find the time to appreciate the
We're out
small
searching
stuff.
for Pokemons.
Yes, and Dora. So, as I promised our audience, they are now waiting with bated breath as to what our gifts are. And Barbara, you had promised that, let me see. Oh, what was your free offer, Barbara? Would you like to tell our audience?
9 secrets to a splendid relationship. Yeah.
Can you just expound on that a little bit?
I sure will. So if you go to BarbaraAnnWilliams.com, BarbaraAnnWilliams.com, when you go there, just click on the link that says, that tells you that you can go ahead and get the 9 secrets to a splendid relationship. And they're secrets because people don't go by them. You know, they don't think about them. And so what I've done is not only given you a list of what those secrets are, but also there's a recording to go over each one and explain them and give you examples of what each one is to help you be able to walk through that so that you can have a better relationship. And that better relationship is with others. Why? Because it's with you first. Because when you have a splendid relationship with you, you can't help but have a splendid relationship with your partner.
Absolutely.
Oh, I like it. Barbara, did I get your information correct in the live chat feed? BarbaraAnnWilliams.com.
I don't see you. Where are you?
The feed on the right.
Okay, let me go up and look.
It's www.BarbaraAnnWilliams.com.
Correct.
Okay, well, that's it. Yes, and they can get the freebie,
get the 9 secrets
by logging in onto that site.
Yeah. And you know what? I want you to have that freebie so bad, and you're like, you know what? I don't want to go on nobody else's list. I'm tired of being on all these lists, you know. So you know what? Truth be told, if I just want you to have the information, I want you to be able to make the transformation in your own life so that you can make it in your relationship life. So you have to get it and take yourself out of it, okay? But that's how you get it. So go there and get it. And if it's good to you, if it's beneficial and helpful for you, then you just make sure you come right back. Okay? Because there's plenty more where that came from.
I love it. I love it. And our next gift is an online quiz to getting unstuck. Is that right, Shannon?
Yeah. So
I'm so proud of myself.
If you're looking at your life going, I wonder what is holding me back. What do I have all my ducks in a row, and where could I use a little bit of assistance? So yeah, we have an online quiz that you can take by going to getunstuckquiz.com. And there's kind of 4 different modules in there, and it'll give you an opportunity to kind of take a look at your whole life and see what's flowing really well and where you might need a little bit of help.
I like it. I like it a lot. Okay. It's www.getunstuckquiz.com.
Yeah.
And you are at www.shannonpresson.com.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yes. All right. I like it. I like it. So we have just kind of skimmed a little bit of the tragedies of women and, domestic. We didn't even touch on domestic violence and how this affects women and the berating on the job and all that. But that's for another woman-to-woman conversation. But I so do appreciate you guys being on our show today, the Speaker MC show. And I just wanted to let you guys know that upcoming events for your host, Marcia Chambers, I will be doing a workshop. It's called a Sexy workshop, where it's all about women and confidence from the boardroom to the bedroom. That will be on September 15th. It's a Thursday. And speaking towards women's empowerment, Shannon and I are collaborating with the Small Business Empowerment Conference run by Tony Wilkins. Hey, Tony, if you're listening. And we'll be having a teleseminar on the 27th of July, which is next week, Wednesday. I can't believe it already. And again, on the 31st, Tony and I will be doing a collaboration with some coaches, doing some one-on-one coaching, how to get your confidence on whatever kind of coaching it is that you need. This will be August 31st. But please stay tuned to our next Speaker MC show, which will be airing on August 1st. And that show is entitled Man to Man. Woman to woman, man to man. We'll get a different perspective. And I thank you all for joining us today. Is there anything that anyone wants to say as the last words?
Sure. I'd like to just remind everybody that the relationship you want to have with someone else should be the relationship you have with yourself first. So be what you want to receive.
Yeah, here.
Woo!
Yeah,
Yes,
I love it.
Yes, I like it. I like it. I like it. Shannon, any parting words for our
No,
audience?
what Barbara said, it all starts with who you are and recognize that every story you tell serves a purpose, but for the most part, we don't remember anymore what that purpose is. So if you don't have the life you want, take a look at what's going on in your life and and change it. You can do it, and it's an amazing experience. So
Yes, yes. Charity begins at home, ladies and gentlemen. It begins at home. That's right. Be a little bit more aware and give some kind of compliment to someone. Even if they don't know how to receive it, give them a compliment, especially to other women. Let us, as women, band together, join with each other to create that united front, that force. Girls are catty, women empower. Queens empower queens. So with that thought, ladies, let us bid you adieu and see you next time and have a fabulous day. Thank you.
Farewell, Shannon.
Thank you,
Thanks,
ladies.
Marcia. Bye-bye.
Woo!